which has 50, and I'll save it. So as in the department, as I'm in the shipment department, I've created all the packages that are required. I've packaged things. The only thing that remains from a supplier end is to physically ship it. So while before physically shipping it or after physically shipping, the supplier will have the waybill number and the carrier details, which from which using which he has shipped the particular shipment. But just as an advance notice to buyer on what I'm sending, there is one feature in Deskera inventory where you can say send ASN. So clicking this button will send an advance shipment note to the buyer, telling him what he should be expecting, how many packages, what are the details, and the quantity in per each packages. That would be easy for the buyer to receive it. So if I click this button, you can see a pop-up that pops up where I have something very similar to a shipment note, which tells me from where it's coming, where it's going, what is the shipment number, what is the item, how much quantity. So this detail has come from the purchase order itself. The only detail that would be useful for the buyer would be this. So now this says to the buyer that he should be expecting 2 packages, each containing 50 quantities. So from at the buyer end, when he's receiving, he might not even have to immediately start counting the items which have just been received. So this is a form which right now I have opened from the supplier side, so it gives an idea to the supplier on what the buyer is going to see. So in this intermediate step where I have accepted and created a shipment, also I've created a ASN note. I'll just log into the from the buyer side using store manager, and we'll see how this PO, what status and what are the details that PO is showing right now. So as you saw before coming to the supplier side, there are only 2 options for the buyer to do something on this particular PO. One was to revise it and the other was to print it. So let's go to the purchase order tab and we'll find out if I as a buyer can get more options when the state of that particular PO has been changed. So if you can say this is a PO that had been generated by store manager and it's in accepted state right now. I have 4 options now. Here I can just cancel it. This might come handy where a store manager might think of reverting the PO and not to take it to the next step. So this is the ASN. So if you can see, the items have not yet been shipped, but buyer gets a note saying this is what you should be expecting when it's shipped or when it is received. So this is the same note that we had displayed from the supplier side. We've just seen it, and he gets to see all the details of the packages that would be arriving. So if there are 25 packages, these packages would be listed here and the quantity in the each packets. So adding them all up, it would be easier for a buyer to say, okay, I have received these many packages, and adding up all them up, I have the required quantity that I have asked for, and the actual counting can go can be done later on. So that is one more option that has been that is now available to the buyer. Another option that is available for a buyer after a PO has been approved or accepted is invoice. It might happen in cases where the items are not actually delivered, but yet I might need to create an invoice for my finance purpose. So I'll just click it and it will take me to the invoice screen where all the details of the PO would be pre-populated and the costing. So if you can see 0.5 per unit, 100 is the quantity, subtotal is 50. So I can add other things like shipping cost. If that's on me, as a buyer, I'll put the shipping cost, I'll put the handling cost, I might add the tags and the subtotal. So this is a running total which is just come from all these 4 fields. I can add some comments. I can put it to the account against which this needs to be billed. So I've said AC001. So this invoice will be billed against this account, and say save. So now I'll go to the invoice report and see if that invoice is available with me. This is where you can view all your invoices previously created or newly created. So now these are the 2 intermediate processes that a buyer can do after the PO has been accepted. I'll again log out as a store manager and I'll go into the buyer screen because he still has to manually ship it. So I'll go to the shipment tab and select that particular shipment which was created earlier, and I'll say open shipment. So now these statuses, we have different statuses for these purchase orders. It's kind of a checkpoint where user, if he does not have all the information at hand in place, he does not have to worry about it. He can just fill the partial information that he has with him and just say submit, and when he does that, the buyer from the other end can actually monitor the progress that's going on from the supplier side. So this is kind of these statuses of a particular PO are the, we can say, a kind of checkpoints that might help both the parties on tracking how the purchase order is being processed so far. So now when I as a supplier will ship the order that I have received, I might have with me the waybill number and the carrier from which I have actually shipped it. So with this information I can ship it. I can ship the shipment. If I don't have this information, I won't be able to mark this purchase order as shipped. So right now I'm shipping it, and I'll show you subsequently I'll show you that the status of this PO has been changed. So once the shipment has been shipped, he can still view the progress here under the purchase orders history. So if you can see, the status has been sent to shipped. I can still see the details of the purchase order. Now in the process, this is where the role of a supplier ends. He does not have to do anything on this PO. He can only come and view what exactly is it received or not. So this will only happen when buyer receives it manually, physically. So I'll log in as supplier, I'll go to the buyer side, and I see if I'm able to see the status, the change status of this PO. So I'll go to the purchase orders tab, and under purchase orders I'll track this. So if you can see, this is changed to shipped, and now I have one more option which tells me which gives me an option to receive and close it. So this can remain shipped till the time the package or the shipment is actually being shipped, and I can mark it received when I physically receive the packets. So just for a demonstration purpose, I'll go to receive and close, where I'll be taken to a screen, entry screen, where I can say if there are if I've received everything correctly. So this is the shipment number and the delivery date, received quantity. So I can modify this if I want to. So I'll be receiving packets, so I can modify the packet information here. I can say I didn't receive 50 out of it. This will happen when once the counting occurs. So I can say this is 25 and this I've received as 50, and I'll say save. So when I save it, this received quantity would reflect in the PO. So this is the quantity that I have received, and I'll say submit. So once I submit this, the process here, this is the process which completes. This is the completion of a PO, and I will be displayed a pop-up which will give me a receipt note. So for this, you'll have to the browser might have to enable all the enable the pop-up so that the receipt note can be viewed and printed. So if you can, this is the receipt note. So that's all we had to display. We had to demonstrate for the purchase orders. Thank you.